To talk to us more about this issue, we've got Terrorism Research and Analysis Consortium Director Jasmine Opperman, who joins us via Skype now to share her expertise. Now, Jasmine, thank you so much for speaking to us this morning. Firstly, what do we make of this latest terror alert by the US, especially looking at how specific this one is?
Good morning, Bongwi, and thank you for the invitation. I think we just need to understand one thing. The issuing of these statements is protocol and has to be issued by US diplomatic missions worldwide. It is an obligation, it is law. Therefore, the moment they get intelligence that there could be an attack that involves Americans, they have to issue statements. They do not have any other way of doing it. Why? It follows the 2012 attack on the US Embassy in Libya. What is happening now? We are getting statements that has not been substantiated, that remains vague, that remains general. Yes, we do have indications that Johannesburg is a target area, Cape Town is a target area, but we do know that the Islamic State is present in these places at this point in time. So we are seeing a cry wolf situation emanating from these statements that is of serious concern of the impact and creating a fear paranoia that must be avoided.
And I mean, the Department of State Security says it's not commenting at this stage. Why do you think that is?
I think it's for the case of simply evaluating their own position, their own situation. I cannot speak on their behalf, but I would have expected at least some sort of statement. Because if one looks at South Africa's vulnerability to terrorism, it has increased, yes. But that does not mean we are now on the verge of seeing imminent attacks. And this is what South Africa needs to hear. South Africans need to stay away from a paranoia, from a fear being created by a statement that has not been substantiated.
And of course, as you talk about this fear that you say can be obviously invoked or can be sprung up right now, looking at this, I mean, how do you think both governments should deal with this?
I think both governments should deal with this in a professional way. The moment there's intelligence available at a US mission, then there must be liaison between the intelligence services. There needs to be close cooperation. Let's verify. Let's look at the accuracy. Let's see if we can get more detail before going public. When we go public, at least we can substantiate our arguments. It's not happening.
And of course, as you talk about substantiation, this has obviously it has shoppers in a panic. What advice would you give them as they go to the mall right now? What should they be looking out for?
The problem you're having with security at malls, private security guards being deployed. The problem related to them, they are not being trained in counter-terrorism. So you are walking into a situation that is vulnerable to attacks. But I want to emphasize, according to track sources, 4 of them, there is no planning at this point in time to execute an attack. So yes, go to the malls, but be aware of situation where groups of people are coming together that's obviously not shopping, that is obviously just looming around. It could be mere criminals, but always be aware of what is happening around you. Always be aware that you are in a place where a bomb can be executed.
And we are aware that some South Africans, of course, have fought in Syria for the Islamic State. Is the concern that, we can see, sleeper cells like similar to those ones that we're seeing in Europe?
A very good question. Initially, self-radicalization was the concern in South Africa. Now we are seeing face-to-face recruiters recruiting. Cape Town, Johannesburg, Newcastle, we've seen that, and Port Elizabeth actively. The next step, the moment you have face-to-face recruiters, is the formation of recruitment cells. And Morocco, Spain, and Europe has proven once you have recruitment cells, the operationalization of these cells to take active action is the next step. So South Africa's vulnerability is increasing, and that is the concern. But fortunately for South Africa, we have time to intervene, and we have to intervene now, like it or not.
Jasmine, thank you so much for that insight. That was Jasmine Opperman, Director at the Terrorism Research and Analysis Consortium.